I'm sorry, there was an interruption of 3 days, which couldn't be helped. And we are on the 15th verse. Adhyatvanam yaya shakyaha akamevam vidhodjunam yahatum drashtum cha tatvena sareshtum cha paramacharya. What happens is, when Arjuna got told the feet was in the battlefield, just the battle is about to start, the war bugles had sounded, and when he asked Krishna to take him whether he had a view of both our sides, the armies which have been arrayed on both sides, we have a view of that. Krishna takes him in between so that he could have a beautiful view of either side. It is a dharma yuddha. That is a righteous war. In those days, in the war, even if there were dire enemies, when they used to fight, they had course of conduct. Unless both sides give the signal, they don't immediately begin the war. Oh, this brother, come here, let me just finish him with it. No, they don't do that. They had various codes of war. Supposing while fighting, somebody drops his weapon and he remains helpless without a weapon. The other man, it is easy to kill him, but they won't kill him, they won't catch him. They'll say, come on, take up your weapon, and then only I will fight you. So they had a sort of, just like the knights of the old days in UK, all these warriors in India, they had specified codes of conduct, and that is known as dharma. So, after going on telling him, look here, you are on the body. You are 2 units. When somebody says, Shantananda, immediately I think of my body. Oh, this is Shantananda, the man with his beard and the mustache. No, it's not. See, there are 2 units. The body changes every day. When you were 6 years old, you were not the same as when you became 20 years old, young man. And when you became 80 years old, you are grand old, you resemble the old man, then you are absolutely different. There were no commonness in features. Your features have all changed, everything changed completely. Then how can you say that you are the same Shantananda who was 60 years back or 20 years back? No. So what remained unchanged was that consciousness, that I consciousness. So, when you were 2 years old, when you were 8 years old, when you were 100 years old, that consciousness, it remained unchanged. So that is the only thing which could be termed Shantananda. It has no name, because it remains forever. It remains forever. And even when it transmigrates to another birth, goes from birth to birth, takes another body, today it is Shantananda, tomorrow it could be born as some David, and another time it could be born in Israel, who knows where it could be born. But that I consciousness which is inside that, it has never changed. Because that I consciousness, just like the electricity in the bulb may change. One bulb becomes fused, the 0 watt becomes fused, he replaces it with 200 watts. So it is not a rebirth. It is only a rebirth when you see it from the bulb's point of view. When you see it from the electricity point of view, it is the same. The electricity never changes. It is the bulb which changes. Similarly, with all the various stages of death and rebirth, there is no rebirth at all as far as the soul is concerned. All rebirth is only for matter. Spirit is never born, it never dies. So, Bhagavan Krishna goes on giving him a dose of the philosophy starting from the alphabet. The very alphabets of the knowledge, the final knowledge is to know that I am not the body, I consist of 2 units, but my identification is not with the body, my identification is only with the soul. This is only initially a theoretical knowledge. It is very much okay so long as no calamities overtake you, no catastrophes come to you. The day my only son dies before me in an accident, or my only daughter, she is kidnapped, she is nowhere to be found. I understand that she is over here, she has not come back. I think she is dead and gone. So when these calamities come, then you should see whether you are really the body or something else. When such calamities, even when we get severe diseases, a cancer comes to me, then at that time I am all body. Even when there is a toothache, I am all tooth. I am the body only. When I get a headache, a severe headache, crushing headache, then what happens? I am all head. So, that is the question of who I am. The question of that I am not the body, it becomes established only when you realize it, when you see actually that you are the same Supreme Being, when you are able to merge yourself with that Supreme, effulgent, eternal consciousness. I am only a ray from that. I am a ray of the whole. There is nothing called an individual soul. It is all universal. It is a totality. So only when you realize it, then it becomes yours. Then let ever fall and unconcerned. That will be the stage. So after telling all these things, Krishna finds that Arjuna, by simply hearing it, gets developed. It is not all who can do it. You and I, after hearing even from a guru, even if we do it for 50 years continuously, it is doubtful whether we will be able to reach the stage of the Samadhi. But how is it that Arjuna was considered as so supreme? Because Arjuna had done enough of sadhanas in his previous birth perhaps. So he was mature enough, his antenna was so subtle enough to catch those waves of philosophy which flowed from the mouth of Lord Krishna. When Lord Krishna found he is now fit enough, in order to increase his conviction, in order to increase his faith in his own words, God reveals himself in his cosmic form. He has got several forms. Even you and I are one of his forms only. But then, the ultimate form is a formless form. That is only supreme consciousness. That is not something which you can see with your eyes, because the moment you go there to see, when you are face to face with him, you cannot see because you become one with him. Who is there to see whom? So you dissolve absolutely. The individual dissolves without a trace. There is no trace of that individual called Shantananda at that time. You are only the universal who is everybody. So you can identify yourself with him. I am all. So that comes. But the only forms which one can see, there are only two types of forms. One is the form which you imagine. You just imagine a Lord who is of the form of light. So you will see that as if there is a big light, a fire lighting, and out of this aperture, the Lord talks with all kindness, with all love. Well, this is your own imagination. And by going on thinking of it, your imagination fructifies. It is not the final one. Yes, it has got a great effect. If you think of the Lord Shiva, if you think of Bhagavan Ramana only, and then you find that Bhagavan Ramana comes before you in a vision beautifully, yes, it is true relatively in the sense, it is as true as your body. But is your body true? This body is only a dream body. While in the dream, you saw yourself, you saw your own body. Not only you saw many fellows, so many bodies you will see. And all the bodies looked as solid, as realistic, as factual, as true as you and I know. But this is not true. This is another dream which you are seeing. It's a cosmic dream. The cosmic being is having not one dream at a time. It is able to have several compartments in its cosmic mind. So it is able to see billions and billions of dramas that are going on simultaneously. One is mind, one is yours, one is of Kirtan, and one is of hope. So all these are all the dream figures. While in the dream, the dream looks extremely realistic. Yes, at that time if a tiger were to pursue you, you don't stand there laughing, oh tiger, you are only a dream tiger, come on, I don't care. You run even the dream. Because it looks so realistic to you. So, the form which you see, even though you may see as if it is realistic, it is not the final. But it will definitely take you to the final. You see as Lord Shiva, you see that the Divine Mother has come in a red sari, beautifully decked with all golden ornaments, and she is so kind. She is addressing me, oh Shantananda, I have come before you. Yes, we bow before her. It may be very much our own thought, but what is your thought? The thought is my own energy. Then who are you? Who are you? You are the Supreme Consciousness. So who is the Divine Mother which came? She came out of your consciousness. She is the consciousness. So there is no question. But she is the bridge between you and the form and the formless God. Yes, people who are unable to go directly to the formless God, people who are unable to do such meditations as who am I, or people who are unable to do such meditations as I am there, for such people you have to graduate slowly. You are a static child perhaps, it is not so. Anybody, it is easier first to think of the Lord's form. Think of Jesus Christ, think of the Lord, and when you think of Him, He comes. Yes, it is as true as your body. Your body is not true, it is a dream body, so that is also equally the dream machine. But it has got behind it the entire potentiality of that totality of the universal consciousness. Yes, so it is definitely the nearest approach to that totality. When don't you reach to this stage, when you reach the Samadhi stage where you are seeing the Lord very close to you, embracing you and telling you, oh, you have done a lot of sadhana and highly pleased with you. Yes, it is true in that sense. As long as because the body is still there, you are seeing separately, the seer is separate, the seer is separate. But when once you have gone to that Samadhi stage, then there is no sadhana needed. You remain established in it, then automatically thinking of one day that Krishna or Shiva will vanish and you will be one with that ultimate being, that Brahman, that comes. So, Bhagavan wants to show him not that form where he comes as Lord Krishna, he has already come as Lord Krishna. So as Lord Narayana, with the mace in his hand, with the chakra in his hand, with the disc in his hand. No, he didn't want to come. He wanted to show him that I am one with all the beings of the world. The lizard is very much myself. The tree is very much myself. Its every leaf is myself. Its bark is myself. Every flower is myself. So he wants to show that God is not seated on a throne in any room, nor is he seated in your photos, nor is he seated in any of the idols and statues. He is everywhere, in every particle, in all the things. So you should develop that sense first, and then only we can reach that ultimate state. Even if you are doing this, who am I and all that, simultaneously always you should have the thought that all the beings are imbued with the same supreme consciousness. So always think that everything is that Lord. When you see internally, it doesn't mean that you go for a donkey and say, oh Brahman, well, here I am and it will go over you and you will get a bone fracture. Don't do that. It's called a Bhava Dulka. Kriyadvaitam na Kuriya. Don't do this non-duality in action, non-duality in thought. Internally you feel that everything is the Lord's, everything is permitted by Him. His grace is flowing everywhere and He Himself is in everything. So, for that purpose, He shows His cosmic form. Everybody cannot see the cosmic form. The cosmic form is really astonishing and wonderful. When you see a big total body, a universal body, just imagine a big universal body which contains in itself everything, which contains me, which contains the entire Tiruvannamalai, which contains New York, which contains California, which contains Bulgaria, which contains even things which I have never seen or never heard of. And you see the gods, you see the Rakshasas, you see the demons, you see all the various planes, not only this plane. You see the 7 planes up, 7 planes down, and all the denizens of all the planes. you will be able to see. And one side, it will be really enticing and alluring to see, oh Lord, what a picture. But at the same time, when you see that, it has got another aspect. That timeless, that cosmic form, the cosmic form is also, it is that cosmic form which is responsible for the dissolution of our bodies too. So there we find, just like a grinding wheel of, where you give your grain for making into atta, so for making into flour. All the people whose time is up, they are all going to his mouth, and they are all being devoured by that. On seeing it, well, he gets really terrified. He cannot look at it. So you get both love and hate. Well, always it happens. In real love, there will always be hate also at one side. Because hate is not the opposite of love, it is only a degree. It is a degree. So according to Freud, love and hate go together. So he showed his cosmic form. In that connection he says, Arjuna, this is a special favor done to you. In all these eons, in all these lakhs and lakhs of centuries, there is not one who has ever seen this form of mine. But I am giving you the divine eyes so that you will be able to see this cosmic form. People may do any amount of sacrifices. People may chant the entire Vedas from page 1 to page infinity. But none of these things will grant him the sight of such a vision, such a cosmic vision. Naham vedaihi, na tapasa, na danena, na chejaya. You may do enough of charity, 20 crores you may give. You may build so many charitable hospitals and so many charitable schools. Nothing of a while. Then the question comes up, not, right, you did me a favor. If anybody else wants to see you in this form, how can he do it? You say that he can't do it by any amount of meditation. You say that it can't be done by any amount of your prayers. Then what is it that will make you show this form? In that connection, this sloka is told by Lord Krishna. Bhaktya svanarnyacha shakyaha akamevam vidhojjuna. Oh Arjuna, in this form, if you want to see this universal cosmic form, where you see the totality and wherein all the individual souls are all the components of it, and they are all very, very small parts, micro parts. When you see like that universal form, how do you see? There is only one key to open the heart of the Lord. And that key is love, not ordinary love, an intense love, a volcanic love, a love which doesn't matter. It is not commercial. Lord, I love you, you must love me in return. No. Lord, you do anything you like, but I love you. So that is the ultimate surrender too. We are love which requires no compensation. I don't care if you don't even see towards me. I don't care if your grace never comes, but I will never cease to love you. All our loves are commercial. We love him, we go on meditating for 2 years, and then we find no improvement, nothing. It's all a nonsense with Indian times and everything. No, I don't believe it, man. So you just leave it. Is this love? Love is something whose switch cannot be operated on the other side. You operate it once, you put it on, it will never move up, you cannot put it on. While our love, you put it on. Today I love my daughter, and tomorrow she puts a demand from her father's house. Father, my husband requires a car, would you like to purchase one and give it to your son-in-law, please? Then the father says, this lady, so much has spent on her marriage and she wants a car too. Nothing doing, she is no daughter of mine. Where did your love go? So, our loves are all based on monetary basis, financial basis, or quid pro quo basis. Oh, I do something to her, so that my old age, she will keep me in her house, she will serve me. God knows what sorts of expectations we have. So these are all things where you want quid pro quo. You want something back tomorrow in return. It's all full of expectations. The love to the Lord is absolutely there. Then another thing is, our love, you just see how many things you love. You love your doggy, your pet dog. You love your son. You love your grandson. You love your beautiful chingways which you have brought from China. And you love your beautiful Bangalore which you have done it with your own eyes, with a special architect, all beautifully designed. You love it. So, your love is distributed over 20,000 things. But Lord is a jealous God. So the Supreme Being, He doesn't want that you should share Him along with 100 other things. Yeah, 3-story mansion, and your son, your grandson, your wife, and your child, the picture, along with that Lord too. No. He wants ananyaya bhaktya, bhaktya tu ananyaya shakya. What is the word ananya means? Ananya means there is nobody else to share that love. So what is bhakti? See, bhakti people translate as devotion. And many of the words we use in life, we never understand its full significance. What is actually devotion? Oh, devotion means just doing service to Him. No, if you do service, even a servant does service, then does he do it with love? Is it called a devotion? No, it is not a devotion. Devotion means Paramatprema Bhakti Tirchati. Narada Bhakti Sutra, which is the gospel for love, which is the gospel for devotion. Narada has written a beautiful book in aphorisms, which has been translated by so many with their commentaries. Without commentaries, you can't understand them, because they are all in formula form. So that formula, it is called aphorisms or sutras. So they are called Narada Bhakti Sutra. It is a beautiful book. If you really want to know how to love God, that is another book. And if you want to know how to love God, there are several other books which I have found have been very, very beautiful. Now, one other book which I would recommend you, there was a Brother Lawrence. He was a cook in a monastery, but he was daily conversing with God. So he had written some letters at that time, some 20-30 letters to another nun in a monastery, perhaps a sister or somebody very well known to him, in order to guide him. Then he gives you the method how to love the Lord, how to converse with Him. The name of the book is The Letters of Brother Lawrence, or How to Feel the Presence of God. It's a beautiful book. It's a very, very small book, available in the best bookshops in India. Then, another book which fascinates was, a number of books has been written by one Dayamata. Dayamata is the president of the SRF. That is that thing is called the Spirituals of Fellowship. It was founded by Paramacharya of Kanchi, who has written this autobiography of yogi. So, the headquarters is situated in California, and Dayamata has written so many books on love alone. How to love the Lord. They're really beautiful ones. Such like books, if you read, you will know what it is like. So God wants that with undistracted, undiverted, undivided love He wants. And then, if you have that, that alone is the key to the entire sadhana. That is the key by which the Lord can enslave. The universal will come at the feet of the individual. But then the individual will no longer be there, there will be no feet of his left. But that will be the speech. He says, Bhaktiyatu ananyaya shakyaha yavam vidha. Aham yavam vidha. I am of this form, this cosmic form which I have just seen. And if anybody wants to see this, shakyaha, that is, one is capable of seeing. Shakti means capacity. Shakya means capable of having a vision. Then what is the key? How to do it? Bhaktiyatu ananyaya. It should be a volcanic love, an intense love, a love which should come so much from the heart that if you don't get a vision of that beloved, you will rather die than live. Every minute will be an agony of death. Well, that should be the real love for the Lord. Not 8 to 9 sitting, Lord, now I am met with you. 9 o'clock, all love over. Love for the work, love for your contract, love for your tender, love for renewal of your fixed deposits. All these things start. No. This Ananya Bhakti means it's a 24 hours job. Yes, but it need not be the fullest vocation for the purpose of our livelihood. We can as well work, we can be having our family, be doing our duties to our children, duties to the wife and everybody. But keep the mind at ease. You see, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa has given a beautiful analogy in this case. He says, you tie a cow to this pillar with a 40 feet rope during the daytime. And you keep some fodder at one place, and you place some green grass on the side, place some water on the other part. The cow, it may be grazing, it may be lying down, it may be walking, but at all times it is conscious of the rope around its neck. God is that rope. But God is not an inconvenient rope, it is the most loving rope. So be aware of it at all times. So, Bhaktya tu ananyaya shakyaha agam evam vidhojjuna. Then, what will happen? Jnatum drashtun cha tatvena. Jnatum means then you will begin to know. Jnatum means to know. The first which comes is jnana. When you go on having that bhakti, go on thinking of him incessantly, then see, in that case what happens is, see, this is the method of devotion. Yes, the method of jnana is separate. Finally they all converge. See, everything converges finally in jnana. But initially, when you love a person, automatically you would like to know what are his likes and dislikes, what would he like to take. Oh, he likes these songs very well. Oh, Beethoven's thing, he likes a lot. So you will begin to know all his tastes. Oh, he would like to have daily his morning constitutional. He goes for his walk. So you will come to know. Similarly, when you have this intense love, automatically the Lord is a self-revealing Lord. So, when you open him through that key, it comes automatically. I have already told you, perhaps, I think some of you might not have heard. There is a beautiful anecdote. There is a famous painter. He was asked to paint Jesus Christ in the Vatican in one of the new doors. When he painted, Jesus Christ was standing outside the door, and the door is closed, and is written is the door of the human heart, and behind it there is a heart face. In the door of the human heart, it is shut, Jesus is standing outside. So another painter, a famous painter, happened to come and see. He called the other painter and told, sure, you have done it very nicely, but there is one shortcoming in this. You have not provided a handle for this door so that Jesus could open it. He said, sure, you are mistaken. This is a human heart. It opens inward. It never opens out. So it is not inside who has to open it. You have to open it for the Lord. The Lord will open it. It is you. So it is your love which opens it. So, Bhaktya, he says, Jnatum Drashtum cha Tasmet. Thus you come to know. You start with jnana, what will happen? The moment you begin to know it is a supreme consciousness everywhere, when you call it so supreme, in what way it is supreme? It is supreme in every aspect. It is supreme in its kindness. It is supreme in its compassion. It is supreme in its love. It is supreme everywhere. And that is why you call it supreme. So that supreme, supposing you start with jnana, you hear about him, that Atman is like this, Atman is like this, Atman was never born, Atman never dies, Atman always remains, all the things which you have seen earlier. You read all these things. Going on thinking of him will take time. You are so taken up with all those attributes, all those qualities of that supreme consciousness, you begin to love. Love is the only way to merge. The ultimate love is that where there is no separation, where there is no you and I. Both are one. They never feel that I am the one side and I am the other side. There is no lover and there is no love. Both fuse together, and that is the stage of merging with the Lord, merging with the Supreme Being. So Vyakul, we come to know him then, intimately. Oh, my Lord is like that. The Supreme Being is like that. Drashtum. When once you know about him, you get that intense longing. Can I have a glimpse? Just a glimpse. It's all that I'll do my sadhana, even if it takes 1,000 years. But Lord, give me one glimpse. Let me have it. Yes. If you have this love, Lord can never withhold himself from you. He has to. Perforce, he'll be compelled to come before you. You will have enough glimpses. Everybody has. Many of the Mahatmas had. Aurobindo was in the prison. The Britishers put him in prison because he was a nationalist in those days. Nationalist. He was almost like a terrorist in the interest of getting independence for India in those days. While in the prison, he hears a voice that, hey, I am Krishna. Well, I will see you on such today. A week later. A week later, he is all about his excitement. Today, Lord Krishna is going to come before me. Nothing happens. He is disappointed. It's about the noon or the evening. Suddenly he finds, for getting some exercise, all these prisoners are brought in the open parade ground, and the warders and all these people are there. Suddenly he finds the prison disappears, the warders disappear, all these co-prisoners disappear, every co-prisoner is a Krishna. There is a Krishna, there is a Krishna, there is a Krishna. All the walls, all the pillars, all the sand, everything is Krishna. Completely he loses his consciousness for 2 days. This is what happens. So, finally what happens is, what happens when you lose your consciousness? Your consciousness is not in the body, it has become one with the universal. It is not individual. It is no more identified with the body. There is nothing with the body. It had only rented it for its own convenience. It will, the day it decays, the day it has got its defects, its diseases and ailments, why should I continue with it? I'll just discard it. When my shirt becomes tattered, I will not be wearing it. I'll just discard it. I'll take another. This is what I'm going to do. So it is that stage. Praveshtum. First he knows, he gets a glimpse. When he gets a glimpse, he cannot hold himself. He cannot be seeing there is a wall. So long as you see somebody else, there is a wall. The full satisfaction can never come. You go on seeing. The full satisfaction will come only when both the individual soul and the Supreme Soul, they merge, they fuse. Merging is also not a term, fusing. Because they become one, they can never be separate, they can irretrievably, they are united. And that is the stage. So, Praveshtuncha Parantapa. So, this is the only way. Parantapa is again, he is addressing Arjuna. Oh Arjuna, who has done so much of austerities, so this is not very big for you. Here I don't ask you to do any austerity. I only ask you to have that deep longing, that deep yearning from the heart to have a glimpse of that Lord, that Supreme Consciousness, that Supreme Atma. That's all I want. Then we go to the next one. Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharatam Shraddha ayojam purushaha Jo jat shraddhasta jevataha. Now, any amount of meditation alone, alright, any amount of this intense love alone, or any amount of charity, philanthropic actions, none of these things will be of avail unless you have faith. Faith is a basic ingredient. It is a basic desideratum. It is a basic sine qua non. In order to succeed in all of our attempts, whether through meditation, whether through jnana, whether through bhakti, it doesn't matter by which path you travel. But on any path, whenever you decide to go, you should have faith. That is called Shraddha, insight. Faith on whom? Faith on whom? Faith on the scriptures. On the scriptures which contain the experiences of ever so many sages of yore who have trodden this path and who have succeeded finally. And those people have recorded their experiences. When you go through, you can compare your experiences, but it may not be always possible. It can only be done in general terms because each one goes by a path of his own. It is rather a pathless path. What does it mean by a pathless path? The birds of the air, they are flying in the air. So you find one bird flying like this. Can you find out its trail and follow that? Supposing a horse has run from here somewhere, you can find out its trail, it leaves a trail behind it. You follow, you trace it, and you finally reach it. But here, in the case of the air, they trail, so you can't follow it. So another bird has to go on its own course. Even though we may all have some common beginning, yes, that's called the sadhana. But later on, the experiences which you get from time to time and the final culmination of all your meditations, they will all be unique for each. Not once they will be repeated. So there is no use of reading those experiences. These experiences are all in the beginning. At the final stage, people used to ask me, Swamiji, what have you experienced? What's your final experience? I said, it is nil. The final thing is leaving all experiences. It is a non-experience, living in your natural state, living in your real life. Where is the real experience? Who is the experience what? Whenever you say experience, what does it mean? What is an experience? Experience means the influence or the result of the impact of something from outside. That is what you call experience. Well, I hear a beautiful music. It immediately has got a response from the inner chords of my heart. I am simply moved by that. And it's an experience. So long as something external to you, you cannot get that final experience. In the final experience, you alone exist as the beloved. You have merged, you have fused with the beloved. Who else is there? There is nobody else. There is nobody else excepting you. So what's an experience? Who is the experience? We have already merged with the universal. So who is to experience whom? The question is in the right. You are that. But at the same time, don't think that that is something which is inert, which has absolutely no capacity for aesthetics. It has no aesthetic sense. It cannot appreciate good things. No. Because it is the goodness of all the best things in the world. You like the music? You like the way, the beautiful way in which is sung? That music is Lord. It has taken just a ray of it and it is shining and you are the very source of it. And you are the one who appreciates it as well as that very essence of that beauty. You are the very essence of that beauty. But at the same time, as you are conscious, you can taste yourself. So you yourself revel in yourself. You get that self-joy. So the self doesn't require anything external, anything from outside. It's a spontaneous. You exist as love. You exist as the finest thing in the world. You exist as the finest of beauty. You exist as the existence of all. Everything exists. The tree exists, the plant exists, the bird exists, the pillar exists. But God never exists. God is an existence. He is the essence. Without the Lord, without the Supreme Being, this pillar will not exist. I will not exist. The plant will not exist. The flora and fauna will not exist. So He is the essence of existence because of which we all exist. He is the existence. We call it Sat. We call it Sat. Sattvanurupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhavati Bharata. Hey Bharata. Bharata is again addressing Arjuna. Arjuna, he addressing variously. See, when you love a person, you will not daily in a boring manner address him, oh Leela, oh such and such, oh David, no. One day you will say, my child, another day you will say, my dear, another day you will say, oh, come on. So see, every day you will use such endearing terms because that love wants variety. Because it wants to be all comprehensive. It doesn't want just to take only one aspect. It wants to consume him in all its aspects. It is so avaricious and greedy when once it begins to love. So Krishna loves all his souls. Arjuna is one of them. So he is addressing him in various ways. And one of them is Bharata. The one who has come in the line of the kings, a king who has come in the lineage of Bharata, who was one of the greatest of the emperors, is called Bharata. Sattvanurupa Sarvasya Shraddha Bhakti. Look here, you say, yes sir, I have got faith. But the faith is not the same. Your faith is different from my faith. My faith is different from another's faith. Faith means faith in the words of the scriptures, faith in the words of the Guru. When those who don't have an external Guru, after all there is something internal, the Guru is internal, so you are feeling his voice. Without that, you never have come on this path. Either you got an external Guru or you are able to heed the internal Guru. Really the Guru is always internal, but some of us are deaf, so we can't hear his voice. So we require what you call that hearing aid. That hearing aid is the Guru. So through the Guru then he makes you understand, because you are deaf, that's all. So those who are not deaf, they can directly hear. See, like Mother Teresa. She was just coming one day, she heard the command of the Lord, and from that day she completely dedicated herself to the poor, to the needy, to the diseased. That's all. And that is love. She loved everybody, she loved the Lord. That's all. So, how this, she wants to say, what sort of faith a person should have. For that he says, faith is the basis, but all faith are not similar. He says faith can be categorized into various ways. Sattvanurupa Sarvasya. This faith in everybody, it is not the same, but it is in conformity with Sattva. Anurupa means in conformity with, in accordance with. In accordance with what? Each one's faith is in conformity with Sattva. Sattva can be interpreted as Sattva, Rajas, Tama, these are the 12 basic building blocks by which we are here. Various percentages we have got. As I said, Samaguna gives you lassitude, gives you laziness, you like to postpone things, you get procrastination, and Rajoguna makes you be active at all times. Start this project, start that project. I want to open a study circle, I want to run a Kendra, I want 1,000 people to come, issue notices, go street by street and tell them, here is a Ramana study circle, please do come every day for a talk. So, you want to action. And in the course of the action, whenever you get affliction and all that, you get angry. So, anger, passion, lust, desire, they are all the concomitants of action. If you do not act, you might absolutely fine. Where is the opportunity? Where is the scope for anger? Where is the scope for passion? Nothing. You are absolutely, you are pleasing. So, this is Rajoguna. Then Sattva-guna is all life, is all kindness, which loves everybody. So, that is the Sattva-guna. So, each one, based on the actions they have done in the previous verse, they have left various tendencies, various inclinations, various attitudes, various proclivities. They are all embedded, imprinted, stamped in your mind. And this mind goes from birth to birth along with this individual soul. It carries its own computer memory. The computer memory is not lost. So the computer memory has got all the various tendencies. In my previous birth, I used to like tea. Well, in the birth, as soon as I am born, I would never like coffee. I like only tea. In my previous birth, I was so accustomed to see TV. So in this birth, even as a 1-month-old child, the moment I see TV, I am so happy That's all. So these are all the tendencies which follow you, the latent tendencies or the proclivities of the previous birth which follow you in this birth. So, according to the tendency, if the tendency was always, if in the previous birth you were always lazy, it follows in next birth also you will be lazy unless you try to overcome it. How will you know that you have to overcome it? Only by going into satsang, by seeking the holy companies, by going to such study classes of some religious and spiritual classics where people read. You need not be an individual. You do not know whether an individual is whether he is evolved or not. Nobody knows. They all talk nicely. We don't know how he is evolved like. Shantananda doesn't talk beautifully, but we do not know whether he ever does any meditation at all. So, rather, when you are studying the scriptures, you are concentrating the scriptures. Shantananda never speaks of his own thing. He speaks what is in the book. So, you can go through that, and this will influence you. So the satsanga, seeking the holy company, there is a method to induce you to turn yourself from the tamaguna to sattva. Only in sattva guna, that is the only field in which love will grow. Everywhere else it will be choked. It cannot grow. So it is essential that one should develop that senses of life, harmony, kindness, compassion, which are all the qualities of the sattva guna. So, Sattva, Rupa, Tattvasya, Shraddha, Bhakti, every man's faith is according to the guna. He will get tamasic Shraddha, tamasic faith. If he is constitutionally, if he is so placed, the man is lazy, because then what he will do? It is very difficult to do this type of sadhana. Every day go on saying that who I am and going on the quest, keeping the mind there. So it's quite old, not a bored man. So I would like to do some sort of ritual, but I quickly get the result. Then what it does, he is worshipping some ghost, some mantra somebody gives, and then within 25 days the ghost will come and he will get some siddhis, some sort of thing he is happy. So Bhutani Eksharakshamsi, so he is only going to the very lowest type of divine beings and he begins to worship them. Such a man's faith is, he has got faith only in them. It is an easy fact, you know. Supposing I tell you, you are all here. I tell you, look here. There is one room there, room number 17. Every day like 12 o'clock when ghost comes, if you wait there, you will see, it comes with two horns, and its eyes are bright, and its feet is reversed. Then you will believe it, you will never go near room number 17. On the contrary, if you tell that man, look here, every day at 12 o'clock, Lord Krishna comes to business, oh, don't man. I know, don't. So he will not believe you. So, if you tell about God, nobody will believe. But if